So I forgot to film the intro to this video, but you're gonna get it now. It's been a few days since that video was taken. That was the day in the life of a health coach tracking his nutrition on a calorie deficit currently. We just got done riding at Snowbird. It's been a pretty great day. So enjoy the video. It is 6:15 in the morning. I'm about to go in for my first client session. Usually in the morning, I start with something pretty simple, either a black coffee or some kind of like amino energy, something to get the day started, and a little bit of toast, just something to have in the stomach. Today, I'm gonna be running a couple of miles after this first session and then back to work. So we're gonna start with that for the day. A good tip, if you're somebody who is usually pretty hungry in the morning, I usually recommend having some electrolytes. It's usually because you're thirsty. It's more often than not that you're pretty thirsty, so that can be why you're starting the day that way. General supplement stack in the morning: magnesium L-threonate, vitamin B, omega-3, and some kind of vitamin D. I take 10,000 IUs. In the winter, it's important to make sure you stay up on your vitamin D. You don't get a lot from the sun, and especially here in Utah, you don't get a lot at all through the winter, so it's important to have. Just make sure that when you're taking supplements that you're getting ones that are third-party tested. Pro tip: when you add any butter to anything, just make sure that you measure it. Usually putting it on a food scale, zeroing it out, and then weighing it will allow you to know how many calories are in the butter that you're consuming. So we're just about to get in for my 6:30 a.m. clients. And after those clients, I have about an hour gap before I start my next string of clients. So the great thing is I can squeeze in a run. I have about 2 miles I think I have to do today. And then I have to do my lift as well, which I can squeeze in about a half hour. One important thing to know: if you are somebody who fasts in the morning, it may be affecting your training. So I recommend having some kind of easy carbohydrates, just like I did there, with a little bit of bread to get you rolling for the day. That will help with, one, a little bit of satiation. Two, it'll give you the fuel necessary to get through the goals you have. So if you're training in the morning and you're fasted and you're feeling kind of sluggish, I would recommend changing it up and adding the addition of anywhere between like 20 to 40 grams of carbs. We're about 2 miles into my morning run. So the camera's gonna be going crazy. I have 3 more clients post run, then we'll have lunch to really get the day started. I just got back from working with clients. We are gonna have some lunch before we have to go back into the gym. I'm gonna be doing some kind of a homemade nabe today. The ingredients are here as follows. We got miso bone broth. Miso broth here, tofu, veggies, gochujang, and we're gonna get this ground chicken cooked up. I got miso, ginger broth in the pot. This is all from Trader Joe's. You don't have to do anything too complex when we're making lunch or doing whatever you're gonna do. It doesn't have to be this big, crazy moment of making all this crazy meal prep. You can do something as simple as just throwing a bunch of stuff in a pot. The nice thing with the broth when we're doing this, you don't have to worry about the calories from the broth because we're not drinking the broth here. We're just using it as a base. This one's pretty simple too. We're gonna make some chicken meatballs out of this. We're gonna take this, put it in the pot, add some spices to it. The pot is heating up, as you can tell. Vegetables, super easy. We're taking this veggie blend for stir fry. That has everything that I use for hot pot: broccoli, napa cabbage, bok choy, and some snow peas. We're gonna add some tofu to this as well to make it really nutrient dense, high protein meal. As many as you want in there. I'm doing a whole bag. Tofu next on in. Tofu in. The last thing we're gonna throw in there is chicken. This chicken, I season with salt, pepper, garlic salt, onion powder, garlic powder. You can season it how you want. Super easy to track. Extremely protein dense. If you don't like it, don't eat it. But this is an easy way to hit your nutrition goals on any given day. Like 20 minutes since I started doing this. I got another hour before I got to be back in the gym. I don't have a ton of time, and I'm still taking the time to make a meal, which is something that you should do if you have the availability to do so. It is not as hard as people make it out to be. Let's take a look how this is shaping up. So lunch, super easy, super effective. Let's take a look at it. Wow. Really easy lunch. It's easy to track your nutrition with this. I would recommend, if you can, using some kind of like ponzu or soy sauce. I think I'm out of both, so I'm not doing either of those things today. Just gonna have to season it really well. Looking good. We have chicken, veg, tofu. Super easy lunch, super nutrient dense, extremely macronutrient friendly. The chicken looks kind of scary when you look at it like this, but it's great. All right, now that this is just about done, we're gonna go ahead and get things weighed out. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna take a food scale, set it on, zero that thing out. After that's zero out, we can start loading up on different things here. So I have 6 ounces of tofu. So vegetables, I say they're free game. You're welcome to track them if you'd like to. That is just over 6. Go ahead and cut this down. Right around 6 there. Vegetables I usually count as free game, so I'm gonna load up on veg. I don't really care too much how much vegetables I get in the pot, but I prefer a lot of vegetables to keep you full and satiated. Majority of these are pretty low calorie, so I'm not really worried about adding it to my day on my nutrition tracking. I'm just happy to have them in there. If you're worried about it, go ahead and track it. If you're not, that's great too. Okay, after you've gotten the veg out that you want, go ahead and zero out the scale one more time. Now we're gonna hit protein. So protein goes in. I got chicken. We're going for 6 ounces. Don't have to be a stickler if you don't want to. I am trying to be pretty specific with my calories here, so I'm gonna be a little more of a stickler. Voila. That's a super easy protein-packed lunch. The great thing with this is you can use this for cutting if you want to. I am somebody who likes to have a lot of volume with the food I consume. So if you are cutting calories and need to reduce calories by any means, you can do something like this. If you want to, you are more than welcome to add noodles to something like this. Noodles go really well with hot pot dishes. If you have the carbs for it, go ahead and throw them in. Say, I'm just doing this. This is lunch. We'll have this. I just made hot pot. Or like a nabe. Super straightforward. We'll do this. We'll go back to client sessions here in about an hour. And then we'll round out the day with some dinner when I get home. What do you think of the food?
What?
What'd you think of the food?
Don't put me on there.
It's too late.
What? No, don't put me on there.
Did you like the food I made for you?
I don't have any makeup on it.
She thought it was good. I have a little bit of a sweet tooth. So I'm gonna have some peanut butter to subdue it just a skosh. I know it's kind of crazy, but a little fat after my meal. The big thing with this is when you do it, make sure you measure it out properly, because this is what 1 tablespoon actually looks like. Whereas most people think 1 tablespoon is a lot. So I need you to lower your expectations a little bit. I wanted to talk about something that I think is very important when we're talking about nutrition. You don't need to do fancy meal preps. You don't need to take fancy recipes. The easiest way to figure out how to hit your nutrition goals is to pick a protein and start prepping it. How I start the week is I'll pick a protein source, a carb source, and a fat source. But generally the protein is the first one I do. I pick a lean protein source, 2 or 3 different varieties of that, and I start pairing them with my carbs and fats. So if I want to have a rice bowl or pasta or bread or whatever it is, I start with a protein that I can pair that with, and then I go from there. This will make it really easy for you to look at your meals through the day and have less panic when you have to figure out what to eat. Make it something that's super simple. Add vegetables to meals, have a couple fruits a day, and as you continue to do these things, you'll find that it gets easier and easier. So prep your proteins, pick a carb and a fat source afterwards, and then have a couple servings of vegetables and a couple servings of fruit through the day, and you'll be fine. I'm just getting home from the gym now, and I'm pretty hungry. So there are a few schools of thought. Earlier, I was caffeinated. That helped reduce some of my hunger while I was training my clients. Additionally, chewing some gum or something like that can help quite a bit as well. I will say that now that I'm home, I have a pretty big sweet tooth, and generally if I go into the house and I'm gonna have some food and it is not prepared already and I'm gonna have to cook it, I usually recommend or personally have some kind of like protein bar, something that's around 200 calories or so with about 20 grams of protein to keep me satiated and reduce the risk of snacking when I go on for the day. So if you like sweets, if you have a sweet tooth, usually like a Barabel bar or something of the sort can be a pretty good substitute. After I have that, then I'll go in, I'll have dinner, and we'll call it a day. I don't have a ton of gas in the tank for making dinner today, so I'm just doing something pretty simple. I have 2 hash browns that I'm gonna air fry, as well as some asparagus. And I'm gonna do that with some ground beef. The asparagus won't go in there because that's disgusting, but I'll do the ground beef with the hash browns, make it up, make a little hash out of it. I'm also gonna throw in a little bit of this good stuff. It's like a TJ sponsored day. I'm not sponsored by Trader Joe's. Ooh, I'm gonna add some mozzarella cheese to it too. Another easy way to get some protein in on the day is adding in things like mozzarella cheese. This is 60 calories per serving and it has 7 grams of protein. So we'll do 2 of those. That's 14 grams of protein in addition to what I was gonna get anyway. I like to throw a little bit of this cowboy caviar in there too. There's beans, red peppers, corn, jalapeno. This is nice to throw in there in the mix. So that's what dinner's gonna look like. After that, I haven't really had any fruit today, so I'll probably end up having some kind of like a fruit smoothie. That'll be basically it for the day. I'll throw total macros here at the end. The ground beef I'm using is about 90-10. You can use like a 96-4. It's not bad, but I wouldn't say it's good by any means. It's usually a little bit bland. I'll take the 90-10 and I'll strain some of it so we get rid of some of the extra fat that's on there. And that'll be the day. If I haven't hit my protein, I'll probably throw in a couple scoops of protein powder to cap that out. But otherwise, nutrition will be hit on the day. And then if I have room in the tank, then I'll probably throw in some kind of treat or something that is off of what I generally have on a nutrition day. But that's what the day is gonna shape up to be. It's gonna be a pretty good day nutritionally, very busy. So I didn't have a lot of time to cook. I probably spent 20 minutes in the kitchen today making the meals as I went along. None of this was pre-prepped. Usually I recommend having your proteins prepped so you don't have to worry about oh, sorry buddy, I just kicked my dog. Look at him, he's blind as hell. I usually recommend having your proteins prepped so that way when you come home, everything's good to go. Carbs are easy to deal with, fats are easy to deal with, but the protein itself is usually what people negate. So prep your proteins first to make it really simple and you'll hit all the goals that you have. Your family will love you. Maybe you'll go to a prestigious university. I don't know, whatever your goals may be, you'll probably get closer to them if you prep your protein. Have everything weighed out here. So what you'll see, 6 ounces of ground beef, 2 hash browns, 2 ounces of cheese. We'll throw a little bit of this in and we're gonna throw a little bit of ketchup in. That will be the meal. The last thing we're gonna throw in is these asparagus. So I'll have the asparagus as well. That is gonna go in my body. I don't know where I was going with that. This is my dinner. It is not the prettiest thing in the world. You don't have to make it like this. If you want to replace the hash browns for something that is a little more high in fiber, you can add some brown rice to this instead. If you want to treat yourself, you can do it very similar to how I did it. I would not mix the asparagus with everything else. That just seems weird, but have it on the side and you'll be fine. One thing to note, make sure you track your sauces. Make sure you weigh it out. When I did it, I weighed everything out just to make sure I was in the right ballpark. If you've never tracked your nutrition before, you will most likely mess things up. Keep it really simple and make sure everything's weighed and tracked for a while, just so you have an idea of how much you're actually consuming.